Only the Mets would know how to ruin a really nice win with their new celebration. That new celebration is a thumbs down for the New York Mets aimed at the fans when they do something well. So in this video, we're going to talk about the celebration, the comments made by Javier Baez about the new celebration after the game, and just about the whole fans and players' interactions with one another in general. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave me a thumbs up. Don't be like the Mets leaving thumbs down. Comment down below, what are your thoughts on this whole situation about the new Mets celebration and their reasoning for it? I'm pretty sure I know what a lot of you guys are going to say, but still, I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts and reasoning on why you feel a certain way about this situation. And if this is your first time watching and really want to help me out, you always can subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. So let's get right into it. The Mets finally have a big game today. They score 9 runs. Yes, it is against the Nationals. You don't want to go crazy about it, but Javier Baez hit a monster home run, 444 feet, and then when he crosses home plate, he's doing a thumbs down. At the end of the game, Francisco Lindor gets an RBI, and all of a sudden, he's putting a thumbs down. And it's like, oh, what's this thumbs down? Oh, it's a new celebration for the Mets. We know they like to do a lot of different celebrations. Before it was the chirp, then Pete Alonso's putting the horse on his back. So we know the Mets are goofy like that. They do a lot of different things. But all of a sudden, the thumbs down, we're like, oh, you know, that's different. We know Todd Frazier had a whole thumbs up, thumbs down thing in his tenure with the Yankees and the Mets. But then it wasn't until after the game when we got the explanation from Javier Baez, and I'll put it up right here, to let, in brackets, the fans know when we don't get success, we're going to get booed. So they're going to get booed when we have success. Now, I understand what Javier Baez is going for. Mets fans have been very hard on the players. They've been booing Baez, booing Lindor, booing Conforto, booing pretty much everybody besides Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo as far as the hitters, because those are the two guys that are playing well. Everybody else has underperformed and has been unacceptable. Now, I personally am not an advocate for booing because I really want to see the New York Mets do well, and it is clear when you listen to Javier Baez's response that it does not help the players. It only makes it worse. It only adds more pressure on them. It clearly has affected Michael Conforto and Francisco Lindor, as neither one of them still cannot get it going, and now we're about to enter September. And I think it's even worse for the players to pretty much be booing the fan. And this really does no good if you are the New York Mets to kind of turn your back on the fans, where these fans are still paying to watch the garbage that you guys have put out there on a consistent basis all of August. If you want to try to alienate the fans, how about this, Javier Baez? How about Met fans don't go to the games anymore, and then you don't get that $200 million contract for New York Mets because you're costing the Mets money? I bet you all of a sudden Javier Baez and Francisco Lindor, the fans are what's helping you get that $341 million contract, you would stop with the thumbs down crap. I just really think it makes no sense. I mean, we should be on the same side of this. Two wrongs don't make a right, Javi. And I'm one of your biggest fans, as you're going to find, especially on a Mets fan base where so many people think, oh, he's so bad, he strikes out, he chases. He does do all of that, but as I've said a million times, Javier Baez also does a lot of good things for you. He can hit a 444-hit home run. He could do great things in the field, great things on the bases. And it's just a player that can help you win some ball games. But when you start to do this and you turn your back on the fans when you just got here, Javier Baez says he doesn't like the fans booing him, but then you boo them back, you're going to get booed even more, even when you do well. This really doesn't make sense for Javier Baez. It doesn't do any good. The players think they're being clever when it really isn't. Now, what's really interesting is that Jonathan VR gave a thumbs up after one of his hits, and he had a great game today, so why don't you be more like him and give a thumbs up to the fans and actually appreciate the fans? And of course, the manager said he didn't know what the thumbs down was for, and he had no idea about it. As usual, Ross has no idea what's going on with anything involving this team. Regardless, I could understand when Met fans boo, especially when the Mets do something very foolish, but I think that booing certain players like Conforto, like Lindor, it's just going to make things worse. And if you want to see these guys do well, I'm not saying cheer them when they don't do well, but just, you know, kind of move on to the next one, unfortunately. And that's the only way these guys are going to be able to turn around and get it going. We're going to have Lindor for a really long time. So if in year one, Lindor's already giving the thumbs down back to the fans, it's just a really bad look. And it's going to make it harder to get more players who want to come here if they know the kind of pressure they're going to be under. You wonder why JT Realmuto didn't want to come here? It makes a ton of sense. And Met fans all along, there have been a portion of them that have been really bad going at players' wives, making Carlos Carrasco deactivate his Instagram. Steve Cohen deactivated his Twitter earlier in the year and eventually came back. Some things the fans have said and done, they really should never do it. And I hope that eventually we can somehow get along. And I think that this is really foolish, especially on the players' side. No other team does or would do this, so only the Mets would try to turn their backs on the fans. Only the Mets would boo their fans, especially when they have success. So you know what? Baez, Lindor, Pilar, everybody else, you better back it up. you better have a lot of success. I want to see you booing the fans all the time if that means you're doing well. But you beating up against the Nationals does nothing for me, because when you swept the Nationals, you completely died against the Dodgers and Giants. Oh, it was good pitching. Oh, it was good pitching. How about the Braves scoring 9 runs against the Giants today? And just throughout the whole series, the Braves were able to score runs against the Giants. So there is no excuse for this. You better beat the Marlins, because they are not a good team. I do not want to see more underperformance. I want them to get back in the race and not just die in August. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Again, let me know what you think. A lot of good stuff coming this week. I just did a Reckless Airwaves radio this morning. That is on my Twitter if you want to check it out. I also wrote an article today about the Mets expiring free agents and how the Mets could approach this. Maybe some contract numbers or ballpark numbers for the contracts. You can check that out later this week. That'll also be on my Twitter. And some other videos should be out. Mets Weekly on Thursdays. So there's a lot of good stuff on the way. So until the next one, be safe, be smarter than the Mets, be healthy, and have a good one, everyone. Let's go, Mets. Thumbs up.